Good morning. It is time to get up with OH. It was Days night in a Buckeyes blowout that almost got away. What a fourth quarter. We're all over it all morning long. Plus, plenty of the NFL today. Big Ben is a Bear. Is that the right man to lead their team and their quarterback to the promised land? And then, once and for all, who is to blame in Baltimore? Because candidly, that was the best team. And they're now home watching with the rest of us. All that and more as we get up with you starting right now. The squad is ready to go.
Yeah.
Go! Look who's here.
Let's go. Tuesday Dan.
Tuesday Dan.
Tuesday Dan.
We got said I haven't been on enough. Get him on more.
We got Dan squared. We got these guys over here.
Yeah.
Oh, but best of all,
These guys.
Desmond Howard is up early.
Here we go.
Ready to go. Heather and Paul will be with us after a fascinating night for the Natty. Let's do it. Atlanta was the scene. Ohio State, Notre Dame for all the marbles. Marcus Freeman, Ryan Day. Ohio State and Notre Dame. Picking up second quarter. Ohio State down early, 7-0. And now we've got Jeremiah Smith, and he is special.
Yeah, I love this design. Alabama actually scored against Ohio State years ago with this very similar play. You fake almost like a reverse. Jeremiah Smith puts his foot in the ground, easy touchdown.
Ohio State then pulling ahead. They're up 14-7 late in the half. It's Howard buying time, and it's Quinshawn Judkins.
I was wildly impressed with Will Howard last night. He kind of did whatever he wanted in the first half, escapes, and then finds Judkins in a soft spot.
21-7 at the break. Now, second play of the second half. It's Judkins again, and there he goes.
Jeff Saturday's favorite play of last night. Just absolutely dominant by the offensive line. The backers over-scrape. Beautiful cut by Judkins, and it's a long gain to start the second half.
70 yards, longest run in championship game history, and then 2 plays later, it's Judkins again, and he cashes in. It's 28-7 Ohio State. They'd run it to 31-7. Game is over, right? Wrong. Here comes Jaden Greathouse.
Greathouse had a really good game last week versus Penn State, and he's strong with the football in his hands. Catches that ball almost contested yards after the catch for a touchdown.
They go for the 2. They get it. It's 31-15. 10 minutes to go in the fourth. This is a huge moment. 3rd and goal from the 9. Leonard, Greathouse, no. 4th and goal from the 9. Dan, what do we do?
You got to go for it. You're only going to get so many possessions down 2 scores. This should have been a go-for-it opportunity for Notre Dame.
Instead, the doink from Mitch Jeter. Not only do they kick it, but they don't get it. It's still a 16-point game. We're under 5 minutes to go now in the fourth. Notre Dame gets it back after forcing a punt. How about this catch from Greathouse?
No one made themselves more NIL money in the playoff than Greathouse. He'd be a big-time player for this offense.
6 catches, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns for him. Notre Dame for the 2. And look at this play.
Of course you give it to the lacrosse kid. Face on, finds the reverse pass. Beautiful touch, and all of a sudden it's a ball game.
So it all comes down to this. If Notre Dame gets a stop, they've got a shot. 3rd and 11.
Here they come. Heavy pressure. Howard delivers downfield. It's Smith. He's got it. Jeremiah Smith hadn't had a touch in the second half until that potential game clincher.
Dan, how about that call and that play?
I was absolutely floored that Notre Dame played Jeremiah Smith in one-on-one coverage. You knew they were going to throw him the football in that situation. Unbelievable throw and catch between him and Will Howard.
The thrill of victory, the agony of defeat was all that remained. It was Day's night. He gets the Gatorade bath. Ohio State, the national champs, for the first time in 10 years.
That's why I get up in the morning every day. It's just to try to make sure these guys reach their dreams and goals. That's all it comes down to. And then also just show as an example, when things get hard in life, you just keep swinging as hard as you can, you fight. That's our culture.
National champions, baby! Come on, man!
We didn't get it done, and it hurts. And my job is to figure out why, and I will. But I told these guys they've left this program better. I don't care if you're here for 1 year or you've been here for 6 years. Our program is in a better place.
All right, so Heather and Paul will join us later. We gave these guys a homework assignment to watch that game and be ready, and so we are loaded up and ready to go. Desmond Howard, I will start with you. You've covered the sport. I was watching you guys when you were in Ireland to begin the season, what feels like 10 years ago, and it comes to an end last night. What is your number one takeaway from Ryan Day and Ohio State, thinking about where they were after that Michigan game, winning the entire championship last night?
Yeah, well, I mean, I have to go before the Michigan game because you said you remember us in Ireland, and at that point, they were the favorites to win it all. Like, everyone picked Ohio State to win a national championship game. Obviously, the Michigan game did not go as planned or as expected for them, but they were able to regroup, and they played like the team in the college football playoff that we thought they would be during the regular season. They were explosive and, man, just so dynamic, destroying Tennessee in the opener, and then obviously seeking revenge on the Oregon Ducks in the Rose Bowl. Just walked through them, made everything look easy. You know, they hit a bump in the road against Texas, meaning they got a little more resistance from the Longhorns. But then, obviously, last night's game, guys, I don't know how you guys viewed it, but the way I looked at this game was David versus Goliath, because we knew that David was the role of Notre Dame. Understanding roster-wise, they could not match up with the talent of Ohio State. And we all assumed that when Ohio State went up about 2 scores or more, oh, this game is a wrap. I have to give a lot of credit to Ryan Day. He did rally the troops after the Michigan game. Congratulations on winning the national championship game. They did what they had to do. But the fight that I saw from Notre Dame to stay in that game and to make it a game, because at one point I'm like, okay, everyone's about to turn off their TV now, boy. Like, this is a wrap. But they fought and they hung in there. And a lot of credit to Coach Marcus Freeman, his staff, and those players. They fought and made it a game when we all thought it was over. So that's my take.
I think that the storyline in some ways, and we'll go little picture here in a minute because I've got to get into a few of the coaching decisions and things, but if you look at it, both teams hit a rock bottom, if you will, at one point this season. For Notre Dame, it was early. They lose that Northern Illinois game. The world is jumping on it. The world lives to jump on Notre Dame. So basically, write them off. Oh, my God. And they rebound and they come all the way here. And then Ohio State after that Michigan game. Maybe there is something to a football team, and maybe it goes beyond sports to actually hitting rock bottom and figuring out a way
well,
to get going.
The greatest part about expanding the bracket was teams like this can find their way back, right? Because in the years past, if they lose to Michigan the way they do, they may not even get an opportunity. So how cool is it to watch teams fight through this adversity, battle back? And again, everybody talked about them being the best team in college football to start the season. They finished that way for a reason. But you got to go through some tough days, some dark days. They did it and rebounded.
To your point, you can't fake urgency, and every team has issues. And if you lose, it's going to be some urgency in practice. There's going to be some attention to details. You don't reach these high highs unless you can attack the problems that you have. And when the problems that you have still result in wins, it's really, really hard to not go out and celebrate. It's really hard to spend that extra time on practice. It's really challenging to focus yourself to make the adjustments in the game plan because the strategy that you've been using works. But for both of these teams, they had to look in the mirror and figure out what was wrong.
There's more parity than ever in college football right now. There's also more distraction than ever in college football right now. So the 12-team playoff made sure that you mitigated those two things. You wanted to make sure that, hey, there's going to be more teams that are going to be better than we've ever had, so let's get them into the party more. And then the distractions of NIL and transfer portal, you're going to have an off Saturday at some point. Your 2 or 3 best players may just not show up at some point. That doesn't mean that you are not the best team overall in college football, and I think the 12-team playoff kind of reaffirmed that thought.
All right, so we'll have more time for big picture. Let's go little picture. I need 2 big questions answered. First of all, Desmond Howard, I'll come to you. Facing a critical 4th and 9, fourth quarter in a game where you're going to have limited possessions, down 16. Marcus Freeman chooses to try the field goal. Now, the disaster strikes because they don't make what feels like a chip shot anyway. What did you think of the decision?